If they were rational, the answer to that question would be no. But I don't think Matt Gaetz is a rational actor in all of this. I'm not sure how, if they really made the case that they got rid of McCarthy because of policy shortcomings, that he was incapable of cutting a good deal with Democrats or with the White House, and that it wasn't about something personal between Matt and McCarthy. Matt always said it was about policy. If it really was about policy, it strikes me that the same policy that got McCarthy fired just got agreed to again. So I'm not really sure what the argument is not to do anything different than what they did to Kevin.
Well, that's interesting. The Freedom Caucus calls it a total fail, suggesting that, and it's clear that Mick will need Democrats to pass this. So now we really have created the same exact scenario in which Kevin McCarthy got fired. But that was before we went through Steve Scalise and Tom Emmer and Jim Jordan. I don't mean to ask the same question that Kailey just asked, but who else is there?
There isn't anybody. But of course, that's a rational question to ask about this. If you're simply trying to stop this from happening, which a couple of folks probably would be interested in doing, then trying to get rid of the speaker throws a monkey wrench into the whole thing. The question the conservatives are going to be asking is, how is this different? Mike Johnson has got to be able to go to them with something and say, look, here's why you should keep me. I've just cut a deal that does X, Y, and Z, and that is better than the deal you would have gotten under Kevin McCarthy, and that's why I should stay. I don't know what that deal is yet because the number's bigger. I mean, the number is actually bigger than they agreed to. I think it was 159, and now it's 166. Of course, that side deal I thought was supposed to be just a handshake and a secret. It wasn't anything that the House voted on. So technically, I guess you could make the case that Mike Johnson is spending more, not the same. If you want to say that the side agreement technically was an agreement because the McCarthy and Schumer don't have the ability to cut those types of deals. So it's really ugly. I hear what everybody's saying. It sounds like it's certainly a move in the right direction towards avoiding a shutdown. I'm not sure it's anywhere near the end of the discussion.
Well, and Mick, doesn't it all hinge on the border anyway? When you have members of the Republican conference saying HR 2 or bust, no security, no funding, shut down the border or shut down the government, it seems that everything is about the border here.
It could be. Now, you could also make the argument, I think you could make it plausibly, that they always want to talk about the border. They sort of, and I'm talking about the Republicans now, they sort of have at least tacitly, if nothing else, given into this concept of mirroring the border discussions up with funding for Ukraine, Israel, to a lesser extent, Taiwan, right? That those four pieces seem to be stuck together. Yes, they would love to have a second bite at the apple. I just don't know how they do it. And of course, if you say, well, we have to have HR 2 in order to pass anything out of the House, then nothing will pass out of the House because the Senate will never pass HR 2. So I hear what you're saying, but I think that maybe the spending deal will be isolated from at least the discussion about HR 2 because that has sort of been married now to Ukraine and Israel.
To what extent is Donald Trump helping to direct the conversation here, Mick? Last time we spoke, it was shortly after we learned that Mike Johnson was in regular contact with him. We heard him talk about the border quite a bit over the weekend in Iowa. Do we at this point really think that he's going to endorse any deal that might make Joe Biden or any Democrat look good?
No, and I think it's one of the reasons you hear him. I haven't seen anything out of him today about the spending deal. I think he's waiting to see how it's received. And when it's received badly by conservatives, he's going to attack it. He might also wait to see what Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis are saying about it. But my guess is they'll attack it as well. So no, I don't think Trump is interested. And look, that's not unusual in politics, right? There's a couple House members over the weekend who said they weren't interested in doing a border deal now because it would give Biden a victory too close to the election. That's not unusual. I dealt with the same thing with Democrats when I was in the White House in 2019 and early 2020. They didn't want to give Trump any wins, that close to election. So that's certainly politics as usual. But no, I don't think Donald Trump is interested in brokering a deal here. When he was running for office the first time, he was, against all the spending deals. When he was in office, he was for all the spending deals. When he was out of office, he was against the spending deals again. So I think you continue to see that trend.
Well, Mick, you just mentioned there Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis, keeping in mind that you're speaking with us exactly 1 week out from the Iowa caucuses. Do either of them stand a real chance?
If I was looking for an upset, Kailey, it would be in DeSantis. I don't think any of them. I don't think Nikki or Ron has a chance to beat Trump. But if you look to folks who overperform versus underperform, keep in mind Donald Trump underperformed badly in 2016. I think it was 12 points or something like that. And Ted Cruz overperformed by about the same amount, in large part because Cruz understood how caucuses were different than primaries, and Trump, at that time, a first-time candidate, really didn't. Now, Trump is working really, really hard to make sure that mistake doesn't happen again in 2024. But that being said, a lot of Cruz's team has signed on with DeSantis. So if there's a chance for anybody to overperform next Monday, I'll be looking for Ron to overperform. If he doesn't and he finishes third, then I think he's out of the race. I think you have to finish second in Iowa to move on to Super Tuesday. It looks like he's not going to finish second in New Hampshire. He may finish fourth in New Hampshire, or fifth. But I will watch to see if DeSantis overperforms. I don't think he's got a chance to beat Trump, but he may do better than the polling is showing.
Well, just in our last minute here, Mick, I wonder your thoughts on your home state, South Carolina. Emerson has Trump at 54, Haley at 25. If she can't outperform a number like that in her home state, is it over?
Oh, Joe, I've been waiting for somebody to ask me that question. Everybody always wants to talk about Iowa and New Hampshire. Every now and then folks realize that South Carolina comes next. And the dirty little secret down here is that, Trump is going to crush her. She's done really, really well the last couple of months. And I do think she's got a chance to pull within maybe single digits in New Hampshire.